So yeah, this is one half of the TNT podcast. To Lorian, and for the record, we are going to be talking about the George Floyd situation in episode 11. So we got a lot of things to talk about, but for the record, this is episode 10. But yeah, we're gonna be discussing all of that. But we got to get into a deep dive conversation about it. So just letting y'all know, we're gonna bring it up on the next episode. But what about you, Tim? You got anything you want to say?
Yeah, we just want to let y'all know that everything that's transpired in the past week or so hasn't gone ignored. We are definitely going to discuss it. Episode 10 was actually recorded prior to a lot of the events that have taken place. And we definitely just don't want anyone to think that we aren't paying attention to all of the problems that have been going on and the injustices and our people trying to fight for equality. And we just want to let y'all know that we are in support of everyone that's out there, whether you're black or white, whatever color you are. We are in support of everyone that's fighting for equality. So we just wanted to, just throw this piece in here real quick to let y'all know that we are going to be discussing it in the upcoming episodes. So we just appreciate y'all for listening, and, hopefully y'all enjoy episode 10. And yeah.
There it is.
TNT. TNT. TNT.
Yo, welcome to episode 10. Oh my God, I said 10. Welcome to episode 10 of the TNT podcast. This is Timothy, one half of the TNT podcast, and I got my brother here with me. I'm gonna go ahead and let him introduce himself.
Hey, yes, this is Talorian. This is episode 10 of the TNT podcast. Man, so glad we're here, bro.
Oh man, I am extra excited. I'm so excited. We got here way faster than what I thought. And we got so much more to give, but man, yeah, this is episode 10. I just want to welcome everybody to episode 10. I want to just say thank you to everybody who's been listening since episode 1. We greatly appreciate everyone's support, everyone that's been sharing, everyone that's been following. We love every single one of you, and we just want to continue to give y'all and bring y'all great content. And yeah, man, episode 10. Man.
Yeah, yes. I think you said that perfectly, bro. Yeah, I'm appreciative of all these great people still listening since the first episode, for sure. So yes, bro. I really been feeling the love, bro. It's amazing.
Yeah, same here. I've been feeling the love too. And oh man, it's like you said, man, we just got to remain consistent. And I think we're going to be able to remain consistent without any problem. Me and you can make a conversation out of anything. And I think that's something that's special that we have. So yeah, let's get into it. It's going to be the 10-year anniversary for a lot of albums that came out in 2010. I think 2010 was an amazing year for music.
For sure.
Great, amazing year. I don't know who do you want to start with? Because man, we got a couple of things that we got to run through. So I don't know, where do you want to start with this?
We can low key start. Like, you want to do mixtapes too? Because I got some mixtapes too in my head that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, we could start there. Let's go.
So I think the J. Cole Friday Night Lights mixtape is probably one of the greatest mixtapes I've ever heard. Honestly, I think that's the best project J. Cole has ever came out with. And I know people say Forest Hills Drive. I think Friday Night Lights is better than that album. So yeah, that was a really crazy time in life. It was just 10th grade. That was a really great body of work by J. Cole. And yeah, man, I've lived with that mixtape for a while. It's like, even to this day, I still gotta listen to it because it's a nostalgic feeling that I'm getting when I'm playing that mixtape. And it honestly didn't even feel like a mixtape. It felt like an album. And because it was just that good. And so, yeah, I don't know what how did you feel about Friday Night Lights when you first heard it?
It's funny that you wanted to start here with J. Cole, Jermaine Cole. Um, no, Friday Night Lights is 100% a classic. I think it's a classic.
Hmm.
It's definitely my favorite project by J. Cole, and it's sad that it's a mixtape because
Hmm.
J. Cole hasn't done anything to live up to that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I said it. I'll repeat what I just said. He
Man,
hasn't done
and you know what?
anything.
Honestly, I agree with you. I mean, people gonna hate what I'm saying, but honestly, I don't think none of his albums has like touched that mixtape.
That's why I said it's funny that you wanted to start here. But yeah, there's a lot of classic material on that album. Yeah, I think I was a sophomore in high school when I first heard that mixtape. This was around the time when Wayne was considered to be like the best rapper ever. And I just
Hmm.
remember people telling me that J. Cole was whack and J. Cole wasn't going to be around and Lil Wayne was the guy and blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
And I remember playing Friday Night Lights a whole lot, especially that Two Face record. I think that last verse on Two Face is probably to this day probably my favorite J. Cole verse ever.
Man,
Because
oh
I think
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
he got off on that song, and I really think in that last verse it kind of sounded like he was about to cry on that verse that he was going so damn hard.
Yeah.
Um, what other records are on there? That's the one. That Premeditated Murder is on that. Two.
Mine was I think the a song that I just continuously play is the Too Deep for the intro. It's something about that song with the sped up Didn't You Know by Erica Badu, him rapping over that. It's something about that record that just does something to me.
Oh yeah, that was the perfect intro for a project too.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so Premeditated Murder was one of my favorite ones. I really liked Sea World where he was rapping over that Tupac sample.
Oh
I thought that was
yeah.
dope.
Yeah, yeah, that was fire. That
I
was
thought
fire.
that was dope.
Um,
What other records were on there?
I like the You Got It record with Wale. I thought that was fire.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that mixtape is probably a mixtape I will forever listen to, like forever.
facts. And like I said, it's funny that you wanted to start here because I know a lot of people are probably mad about our take on him not releasing anything as good as that since then. So just a little bit of backstory on Friday Night Lights. I remember when he did his interview with the Breakfast Club, and he was explaining because they asked him why he made the Let Nas Down record, and he was explaining that at the time, Jay-Z and Rock Nation didn't want to put any music out by J. Cole because he didn't have a big radio record. Like he didn't have a mainstream record at the time. And
Hmm.
he was explaining that he had to sacrifice a lot of his a lot of his material um, to put it on that Friday Night Lights mixtape and put it out for free because
Hmm.
they wouldn't let him put it out on an album, which is kind of sad because now when you look at the landscape of hip hop, we're kind of getting back to lyrics and concepts and songs with meaning. So I feel like if Friday Night Lights were to come out now as an album, or if he had the opportunity to put out Friday Night Lights now as an album, his catalog would be so much better
Oh,
because
facts on top of facts.
right. And at that time in 2010, we were coming on, it was like the tail end of you needing to have a big record because streaming services weren't out then, people weren't streaming music and all that type of stuff. So you still needed to have big records and big songs with other big artists to kind of, get to the top. And man, it really just sucks that like looking back on it now that he had to put that out as a mixtape, man. That sucks.
Yeah, I remember watching that J. Cole interview on the Breakfast Club, and I was like, man, I wish Friday Night Lights came out as an album because that would have been honestly his classic to me. Like that would have been the perfect album. Like just every song on there for me is just, that album or that mixtape just flows well, and just he's just as lyrical as I want to hear him because honestly, like me and you have been talking about, when it comes to J. Cole albums, I just be like, eh. But when he features, he snaps, and I just be like, I need you to snap on an album how you snapping on features.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree 100%. You know, and look, I'll be the one to take the hate on the TNT podcast. I'll tell you right now, I haven't heard. Me personally, I haven't heard a verse as good as that Two Face verse.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years, man.
Yep,
And
I'm behind you, bro. And you know, people gonna come for us when it comes to this J. Cole topic when they hear this. So I already know it's coming, but I'm sticking by what I'm saying because I've expressed to people what I feel about J. Cole. Like I was like, I'm a big J. Cole fan. I even seen him live when he did the KOD album. I like the KOD tour or whatever. I went to that concert because I just wanted I just felt like J. Cole was on the bucket list for me to see because I had been a fan for a while. And but yeah, like, and it's just songs here and there that I like, you know, on different albums. But yeah, just as far as the lyrical hunger that been wanting to hear from J. Cole, I just feel like I haven't gotten it, but I feel like I get it on mixtapes. It's just like if he stops an album, if he does, it's like if he does an album and he does a mixtape, it's like the mixtape is always way more lyrical and insane than the album that he dropped. So, but that's my piece on J. Cole as far as that mixtape. I don't know what's another album or mixtape or something that you just thought was really great.
I just wanted to real quick on the J. Cole thing. A lot of people, I think it's funny because a lot of people try to say that J. Cole is fake deep, like he's a fake deep rapper,
Yeah.
and
Oh Lord. Yeah.
I just thought that was funny. I just wanted to point that out. But no, yeah, Friday Night Lights is a classic. Salute to J. Cole. We will have a J. Cole episode is coming because we do need to talk about his career. So we'll get to that in a at another time.
For
But
sure, for sure.
I believe Cushion Orange Juice came out in 2010 as well, right?
Yes, it definitely did. It
Um,
definitely did.
I I have a lot of memories with Cushion Orange Juice. Um,
Mhm.
that was I think I was late on Wiz Khalifa too. I'm gonna be honest with you because I think the first project that I heard by Wiz Khalifa was ooh, I think it was a mixtape with Currency. I think it was one of
I'm
them.
not surprised. That's like one of his best friends when it comes to music and making songs.
Yeah, I think it was one of the mixtapes with Currency. But no, Cushion OJ, that was Wiz Khalifa when Wiz Khalifa was Wiz Khalifa. Because now I feel like Wiz
Yeah.
Khalifa is just on some other shit. I don't know what Wiz Khalifa is doing now. I guess he kind of crossed over and started making like pop rap. I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but that was Stoner Wiz Khalifa. I don't even have the track list in front of me. I just remember Mesmerized being one of my favorite records. He had the
That's
song on
my
there,
favorite. That's my favorite song on that mixtape.
Mesmerized. He had the record on there that he sampled a Final Fantasy. He sampled a song off of Final Fantasy. I think it was Never Been, if I'm not mistaken. I remember listening to that record a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, damn, he had a record on there with Big Crit and Currency that I like too. Glass House. I think it was Glass House.
Mm-hmm.
That
Man.
was one of my favorite records. But yeah, I definitely think Cushion OJ is a classic, and I'll tell you right now, I never would have thought that Wiz Khalifa would be as big as he is whenever I
Mm-hmm.
first heard that project.
Same. I'd never imagined. It's so crazy what's happened between in this 10 years. Like, man, it's like these artists are bigger. It's insane. Like some might not be as big, but it seems like a lot of them are bigger now. It's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out to Wiz Khalifa. I really want to have a conversation about um Nicki Minaj's Pink Friday album.
Yeah, I had that down as the a 10-year anniversary. Yeah, what did you think about that one?
I like the album, and I thought it was really interesting. I didn't notice this until not too long ago. That album came out the same day as Dark Twisted Fantasy.
Yo, that you know what? That makes so much sense because I was watching an interview of Nicki Minaj, and she was saying something about her and Kanye's album coming out. She was like, "My album ended up being number two." They was like, "Wait, who was number one?" It was like, "Oh, Kanye." She was just like, it had to be Kanye that beat me number one." I'm sorry, but yeah, Pink Friday was great. That was a great album, but it wasn't gonna beat my beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. There's no way.
Yeah, we'll talk about Dark Twisted Fantasy in a second, but
Yeah.
I just thought that was crazy that it came out on the same day. But I was looking at the track list of this album, and Pink Friday, it was a good album, but I have a question. It might be
Hmm.
a hot take. Does Pink Friday, or is Pink Friday a classic? Because
Hmm.
and when I'm saying a classic, I mean just there was a lot of big records. It commercially the album did great, and it really kind of put Nicki Minaj in a place where we're looking at her as a legendary, a legendary female rapper. So, um, and I mean, you have to really think about it. She had Eminem on it. She had Kanye on it. She had
Hmm.
Rihanna on it.
Hmm.
Um, she had a lot of big people, man. She had a lot of big people on her
Drake.
first album. So,
Drake was on there.
yep, Drake was on Moment for Life.
Yep.
So yeah, do you think that this album is going to be looked at, or is it already looked at as a classic?
I think so, bro. And if we're gonna be completely honest, I mean, which I always am when it comes to music. Um, Pink Friday and Pink Print are like the only albums I like by Nicki Minaj. So I'm gonna say Pink Friday is probably a classic with some big records like Your Love, Moment for Life, Roman's Revenge. Like it was some big records on it. I'm gonna probably just say it's a classic. Like it's her debut album. I would probably say that album is a classic. I don't know. You classify it as a classic?
Man, when I look at the track list,
I think so,
I
bro.
want to say it is, man. When I look at the track list, I want to say it is because we're talking Roman's Revenge with Eminem. Did It On Him
Hmm.
was a huge song.
Yep.
Right Through
Radio.
Me, yeah,
Yep.
Right Through Me was a huge song. I like the Save Me record. Moment for Life was a huge song.
Your Love.
Blazing with Kanye.
Yep.
Um, Your Love,
That
Fly
whole
with
album.
Rihanna.
The whole album was fire. I like. That's all I said. That's my favorite Nicki Minaj project. And honestly, the things in between that I didn't really like. And I like Pink Print, but I don't. I think Pink Print was good, but I don't know if it was a classic. But honestly, if I'm gonna just stamp a classic for Nicki, it's going to be Pink Friday for me.
Man, she had suits on that album.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's probably the album that I would stamp that as a classic for Nicki. That's honestly for me her only classic.
So when we look at Nicki Minaj's career, when she first dropped this album, because again, going back to what I said a minute ago, this was at a time when you kind of needed to have big records, you kind of needed to have
Hmm.
big artists on your songs. Because I remember a time where I was thinking to myself that Nicki Minaj wasn't going to be around for very long, and obviously I was proven wrong. So
Hmm.
when you first heard Nicki Minaj, did you think she would still be here today? Because she's 10 years in. She's now considered a veteran. She's no longer
Hmm.
a new artist. She's one of our, and you know what's crazy to me is I think she should be up there when we speak of J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake. Like she should be, I think, me personally, she should be in that first tier. And I don't know
Hmm.
why people don't think of her. I guess it may be because she's a woman. I think she should be
Hmm.
in that first tier. So I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to ask is did you see her trajectory going the way that it went? Because she's still here. We're 10 years in and she's still here.
Exactly. Mm, honestly, going off of her first album, I was like, she might be here for a while. Like she might be. I was like, if she's this consistent, she's probably going to be out for a minute. And yeah, she's proven it, bro. Like even if you're not a Nicki Minaj fan, like I mean, she's still here. Like even like I know people that don't like Nicki Minaj at all. Like they don't like her music at all. But hey, she's proven to still be here to this day. Like you don't even have to be a fan. You just gotta give credit where credit is due. Like I'm not the biggest Nicki Minaj fan, but I liked her first album. Like her first album to me is a classic. And but yeah, like there's songs off of each album that I like, but yeah, her first album is a classic. And yeah, I I was kind of half and half. I was like, she's probably gonna be here for a while when it comes to the rap game, like because the way this first album sound. But I was just like, we just got to keep listening. But yeah, she's actually shocking me more than I thought as far as being in the game this long. So yeah, it actually kind of shocked me.
So I keep seeing on the internet, and yeah. So I'm gonna just say I keep seeing on the internet where people are making the comparison between Wayne and Jay. And I know you've probably seen this,
Oh
where
god.
they'll ask the question and they'll say, who introduced better artists to us? And
Oh.
They'll have Wayne with Drake and Nicki, and they'll have Jay with Rihanna and Kanye. So
Oh.
I really, while we're on this Nicki Minaj conversation, I thought it was good to have this conversation because I'm interested to see what you think about that because I already kind of have an idea of what I think.
actually, actually, I'm gonna go with Jay because maybe because I'm just a big fan because I love Nicki. I mean, I'm sorry. Well, I love Nicki's first album, and I like Nicki as like she seems like a cool person or whatever. And I'm a so I guess you could say I'm a semi Nicki Minaj fan, but I'm not a huge fan. But I am a big Drake fan. But I'm a bigger Kanye and Rihanna fan, honestly. So I'm gonna say Jay on this one because, well, first of all, I don't care what people say, but Jay is better than Lil Wayne. Uh, and then yeah, and then Kanye and Drake, and yeah, and then yeah, I don't. Well, not trying to compare, but Kanye and then Rihanna. Yeah, I think, and then Rihanna is just ridiculous when it comes to music. Like Rihanna has way more consistent albums, like good albums, because there's not. I don't really like Nicki Minaj's discography, honestly. So there's like maybe two good albums, and then Drake's discography is actually pretty good. It's decent. It's really good actually. And then he just has a crazy amount of hit songs. But then for me, Kanye has like five classics, and then Rihanna has a good maybe four or five classic albums. So I'm gonna give it to Jay on this one.
Yeah, this one was real difficult for me. Um, but I ended up on Jay too. But again, a lot of people are going to think that I landed on Jay because I'm biased. But
Mm-hmm.
the way I looked at it was if we're trying to say who out of the choices were better, I'm gonna go with Rihanna and Kanye because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
while Drake is a bigger artist than both
Mm-hmm.
Kanye and Rihanna. I mean, no, there's no bigger artist than Drake. I feel like Nicki Minaj doesn't really, kind of
Mm-hmm.
hold up to. I mean, I guess it would be different if it was Wayne and Drake versus Kanye and Rihanna, but I feel like Nicki Minaj doesn't really have, the influence and star power to kind of go against Kanye and Rihanna. And
No, he don't. Sorry.
for
Yeah.
that simple reason, I'm going with Jay.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Nicki and Drake, man, like Wayne did, I mean, he did in something incredible. I mean, something incredible, something that I feel like will never be done
Mm-hmm.
again, which
Yeah.
was bring us Drake and Nicki. So I'm not trying to take anything away from what Wayne did, but
Mm-hmm.
Rihanna is just a force, and Kanye
Yeah.
influenced one of the people that's going against the two people that you had. I mean, Drake was influenced by Kanye, so I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying
Exactly.
like, I'm gonna have to go
Exactly.
with Jay on that. But I just wanted to ask you that because I thought it was interesting because I keep seeing that online, and
Yeah. 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 I agree because I think Nicki and Drake are Wayne's best investments, and Rihanna and Kanye has been like Jay's greatest investment. Almost like Eminem with 50 Cent. I feel like 50 Cent is the his greatest investment if we talking about money wise and just being a huge artist. I think 50 Cent has been Eminem's greatest investment.
yeah, I agree with that. I can agree
But
with
yeah,
that.
yep,
Yeah, I fuck with Pink Friday. Um, it's a great album.
same.
Uh, Recovery came out in 2010 as well, and I wanted to ask you where do you rank Recovery on Eminem's catalog?
Hmm, that's a good question because I actually really liked Recovery, and but I don't know because for me those first three albums of Eminem are just classics. So and then you have what relapse, you then you have on well you have encore, you have relapse, you have because his first three albums are classics: Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, Eminem Show. So I probably wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't put Recovery over Eminem Show, and I probably wouldn't put it over Marshall Mathers LP. I don't know where I would put that album as far as ranking. It would probably be like his fourth or fifth best album, if I would have to say maybe.
For
So I
me,
don't know. I don't know.
I think it ranks I'll probably say number 4 for me because I do think that Recovery was a good album. And for everybody that says that Eminem doesn't have any type of introspective content, I would advise you to go listen to Recovery because he was very introspective on that album. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it's ranked at number 4 behind um, the Eminem Show because for me, my favorite Eminem album is the Marshall Mathers LP, then Slim Shady LP, then Eminem Show, and then I'll say Recovery after that. So it's number 4. Um, it
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me,
Oh, you know what? That's a good order. That's a good order. I like that.
yeah, and Recovery was a good album. The only problem that I had with it was the production. I feel like there was a lot of like pop sounding beats on there, but he was rapping his ass off.
Mhm.
The whole album, he was
Oh
rapping his
yeah,
ass off.
for sure. Yep. 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 I agree.
He was rapping his ass
I
off on
agree.
the whole entire album. It's just the damn beats is what I feel like. Because I remember when I first heard the album, I didn't really like it that much, but
Mm-hmm.
I think what you have to do is you kind of have to listen to what he's talking about on the album. There's a lot of introspective stuff, like on "You're Never Over." I think "You're Never Over" is probably one of my favorite songs on that album because that's the record that he wrote about Proof. Rest in peace to Proof.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so he was definitely introspective on that record. And then there was that one song, I think it was um, "Cold Wind Blows." Oh no, it wasn't
I
Cold.
love
It was
that
it
song.
was
I love that song though. I love that song.
yeah, but I think it was Talking to Myself, the song where he was talking about how he almost wanted to quit rap because he thought that Lil Wayne and Kanye were so good that
Mm,
he wanted to quit rap. And I was just like, damn, like it's crazy that Eminem is actually like saying that. But
yeah.
yeah, it has Not Afraid on there, which was a huge record. Um, what's the record with Lil Wayne that's on there?
No Love.
Yeah, No Love. Did
That's
you
a
like that song?
classic. I actually like No Love. Honestly, I think that's when Lil Wayne raps his best, low key. Cause I don't know. I'm really picky when it comes to Wayne songs. It's like I don't like every Lil Wayne song. So I feel like somebody like Eminem kind of made him like, nah, I'm gonna step my rapping game up. So I actually like that song. You like that song at all?
Well, here comes the TNT hot take. I don't like either one of the Wayne and Eminem songs. I don't like Drop the World and I don't like No Love.
Really? I'm surprised by that.
I remember when that Drop the World song came out and everybody was going crazy. I think I was the only person that was like, I don't see it.
I don't really like Drop the World is okay to me, but No Love, I like No Love.
And it's funny too because I think Drop the World is on Rebirth, right?
Yeah, that album is trash. Sorry.
That
It's straight garbage.
that album came out in 2010 as well.
Exactly. Actually, I think Rebirth and I Am Not a Human Being both came out 2010, I think.
Yeah, I'm Not a Human Being came out too.
Sorry, both of those albums are trash.
Damn. Damn.
I did not like neither one of those albums.
I liked a couple of records on both of the albums. I think on Rebirth, I think I liked the On Fire song, and that was it, which was one of the singles. But that was like the
Yeah,
only song that I liked off of
yeah,
them.
exactly. It was like two songs off of both of those albums, like two songs each, and two or three. And after that, I was just like, all right, no, I can't do it.
So, question. Rebirth was the first time I guess in mainstream, because I don't want to take anything away from Death Grips, was the first time in mainstream where a rapper kind of made like a rap. Well, mm, never mind. I take that back because LL Cool J did rap rock.
Hmm.
So I take that back. I was gonna say, what do you compare? How do you compare that album to Yeezus? Because a lot of people didn't like Rebirth, and a lot of people didn't like Yeezus at first, but now a lot of people love Yeezus. So I was just gonna ask, like, why do you think people didn't like Rebirth, but they like Yeezus? Because Kanye wasn't saying shit on Yeezus either.
I mean, I just think the production and just the way he put it together was better, just when it came to Kanye. So I don't know. I definitely rather listen to that over the Rebirth album because it's just I don't know if it was the production or yeah, Kanye wasn't really just saying a whole lot, but I don't know. Kanye sounded better to me. It's just I don't know if the way he was rapping or just the production with the rapping. And then I really liked New Slaves in Bound. Like I don't know. It that's a tricky one. But I think Kanye executed it like his album better than Wayne did for some reason. I didn't really like Rebirth. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, and I guess the reason why I wanted to ask that is because I feel like people just kind of forgot about that Rebirth, and when they talk about like rock slash rap crossover albums, they usually talk about how Yeezus was so innovative and it was so different and so creative. And I just always think, what about Rebirth? What do people think about Rebirth? But yeah, I don't really like Rebirth that much either, to be honest.
And then it was probably also the way Kanye's concert went with the album. So it almost made the album better. It's like So it was like stuff Kanye was doing on a creative level that was just, it don't seem like Lil Wayne was really on. So I don't know. I give it to Kanye on that one.
Yeah, that Jesus concert was fire. I seen that shit and that was amazing. It's probably one of the best concerts I've ever seen. Like he had fireworks, he had mountains opening up, Jesus came out, the damn stage was doing hydraulics and shit. That shit was amazing. That was amazing.
I'm
So
till this day, I'm still jealous of everybody that went to that concert because I didn't get to go. Man, I wanted to go to that so bad, but yeah, I gotta give it to Kanye because he just be on another level. Just creatively, it's just insane.
yeah, I feel like we got away from the Recovery album. I just want to kind of wrap that one up. The Recovery album, it was good. Um, yeah, I said I rank it number 4
Yeah, that's a good
on
number.
my list.
That's a
Um,
good number. That's a
but
good
yeah,
number. As far as order of Eminem's great albums.
yeah, and I try to create scenarios in my head, like if those first 3 albums didn't exist, would Recovery be considered Eminem's classic? And I think the answer would still be no.
It's a good album, but it's not a classic.
I'll have to come back to that one day.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Um,
before we get to my beautiful, dark, twisted motherfucking fantasy, I want to talk about Thank Me Later because that
I was
album,
just about to say that album. I was just about to say it.
yeah, I want to talk about Thank Me Later because that album took and plays a big role, I feel like, on an important part of my life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that album came out on June, I think it was June 15th, 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I know the exact date because Chris came over my house early in the morning and we went to Target, the Target that we used to work at, and we went and we both got a copy at like eight
Mm-hmm.
o'clock in the morning, and we were listening to it like all day for the rest of that day. I think I learned that whole album from top to bottom in like 2 days.
Wow.
Like that's how much I was listening to that album. And I really want to talk about this album because I don't know if you watched the interview that Drake did with B Dot and Elliott Wilson. Uh,
No, I actually need to go watch that.
yes, you definitely need to watch that interview. It's like a 1 hour and 30 minute long interview, and he talks about everything. He talks about all his albums. He talks about the Pusha T beef. He talks about everything. So, shout out to B Dot
Mm-hmm.
and Elliott Wilson on Rap Radar. But yes, they asked him to rank, or not really rank. They asked him what album he considers to be a classic and what album is his favorite album. And it's funny that he didn't bring up Thank Me Later, but when he did bring up Thank Me Later, he actually said that it was his basically said it he said it was his least favorite album because he said that when he went in to create that album, the label wanted him to make a big album with a lot of big names on it. That's why he has Jay-Z, Alicia Keys, Kanye on the production, Swizz Beatz, T.I., The Dream. So he said that he went
Yeah.
in with the mindset to create a big, huge album because, again, like I said before, in 2010, you needed those big records to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought
Yeah.
it was interesting that he said that it was his least favorite album because after Take Care comes a couple of songs off Nothing Was the Same, and then I'm going straight to Thank Me Later. I love Thank Me Later, and
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those albums on Drake's catalog that's forgotten. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about Thank Me Later. They don't listen to Thank Me Later. They don't. There's a lot of great stuff on Thank Me Later. A lot of great stuff.
Oh yeah, that whole album as a collective is just amazing. And I think there was like at least 5 or 6 of those songs that hit the radio.
Yeah, it was Find Your Love. It was Shut It Down. Over. Um, What else is on there?
Fancy.
Oh yeah, Fancy. Oh, Fancy. That goddamn man. Swiss. Shout out to Swiss Beats for that, man. Both
Yes.
the first beat and the second one. Shout out to Swiss Beats.
Oh, Miss Me with him and
Oh
Wayne.
yeah, Miss Me with him and Wayne. So yeah, that there's a lot of great stuff on that album. And yeah, I just remember listening to that album every single day during the summer up until the point when Dark Twisted Fantasy came out. We'll get to that in a second. But
Ooh,
my
that's a
question,
whole
yeah, my question is
top.
for you is
I know it's coming. Is it a classic?
no, I'm not gonna say is it a classic. I was just gonna ask um same thing that I asked about Eminem. Where do you rank Thank You Later on Drake's catalog? Because I think it's very very interesting that Drake kind of put it on the bottom of his catalog.
Hmm. That's a good question because I like Nothing Was the Same. Wait, wait a minute. When Nothing Was the Same, is that my favorite? I don't know. Cause I'm trying to see, do I put Take Care above Nothing Was the Same? Because let me see. So Scorpion, I thought Scorpion was good, but it's not a classic. I didn't like Views at all. I liked a few songs on there, but I didn't like the album as a whole. See, Nothing Was the Same.
Views was a terrible album.
So honestly, I'm putting Thank Me Later as like top three Drake albums, honestly, but I'm going to put it. I'm trying to see where I rank it in the top three though. I'm trying to see, do I put Take Care above Thank Me Later? Because I think I might put it might be between Take Care, Thank Me Later, and Nothing Was the Same. So and I'm forgetting about the what's the other album? So there's Scorpion, Views, Take Care, Thank Me Later, Nothing Was the Same. What was the other album?
We're just looking at. We're not talking. I'm not counting mixtapes.
No. There's another album. Um, there's another album that's missing though that I'm not thinking of.
If you're reading the
It's like
mixtape,
what? No. It's the album with his. He looks like his dad with a mustache. It's an album.
oh,
Uh,
More Life. That's a
he,
mixtape.
more, no, wait. Was it More Life?
More Life, yeah, More Life is a mixtape. You said all the albums. More Life is a mixtape. If you're reading this is a mixtape. So Far Gone is a mixtape. Everything you said is right. They're all albums.
Let me see. So,
So Drake's albums are Thank Me Later, Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, Views, Scorpion, and that's it.
I thought that. So wait, no, wait. More Life. Was it called More Life? More Life was a mixtape.
You remember when he put More Life out and he was like, "Man, I'm trying to change things up and I'm gonna call it a playlist," but it's a fucking mixtape.
Because because More Life had like Free Smoke on it and stuff.
Yeah, that's not an album. It's a mixtape.
So I thought, the whole time I was thinking that was a album.
No.
Okay, so because Scorpion is there's some good songs, but it's not a classic. And then um Views, I didn't like it. There's like maybe 4 or 5 songs on there, and those were the songs that were on the radio. The rest of and it might have been like 2 more songs I like, but overall the album wasn't good to me. And then so Thank Me Later to me is top three. So I'm trying to see how I want to rank it. I might go. Do I want to put Take Care above Thank Me Later? I might put Take Care above Thank Me Later. I'm trying to see, is it number three or number two? It's like it's either gonna be Take Care, Nothing Was the Same, Thank Me Later, or Take Care, Thank Me Later, Nothing Was the Same.
I could have sworn you were a big fan of Nothing Was the Same.
Nah, I think when I first heard it, I was just going off the hype, but it's some songs on there that I'm just like, honestly, I think I'm gonna say Nothing Was the Same is definitely gonna be probably number three, probably because I think Take Care and Thank Me Later are honestly his best albums. But then again, I liked a lot of songs on Nothing Was the Same. Hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know. This a hard one. I don't know.
yeah. I'm
That's a
I'm
hard one.
easily putting Take Care is my favorite Drake album, but Thank Me Later is coming right after that for me. I didn't.
That's what I think. I think so too. I think it's Take Care, Thank Me Later. Nothing Was the Same.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of Nothing Was the Same. Nothing Was the Same has a couple of, well, yeah, it has a couple of songs that I like on it, but I wasn't as big of a fan of Nothing Was the Same. And it's funny because in that interview, he actually said that Nothing Was the Same is his best work. So I think,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, I think it's funny that he said that, but I just thought it was crazy again that he put Thank Me Later um at the bottom of his list because that album is so good and there's a lot of good content on it and it was such a big album. I just thought it was interesting that he put it at the bottom. But yeah, going back to what I
Yeah,
said, I used to listen to that album every damn day in the summer of 2010, and um, yeah, I mean it's an amazing album, and I never would have thought. I mean, I knew that Drake was going to be a big artist from the beginning, but I didn't think that he was going to be what he is now. I did not think that he was going to be like the biggest artist ever.
man, man, oh man,
But
dude is huge, bro. Like he's the biggest artist like in the world.
yeah,
Seems
so
like him and Beyonce, and yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, so salute to Drake.
Oh! Question. Is Thank Me Later a classic?
No, Thank Me Later's not a classic. Um,
Oh,
no,
so Take Care is a classic.
yeah,
Is Take Care a classic?
I think Take Care is a classic because so actually since we're on this subject, let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's talk about this. We're gonna do it on TNT podcast because we're the TNT podcast. What makes an album a classic to you?
Okay, so hmm, wow. Okay, that's a really good question. So I don't know. I guess because can we just go off of? I don't know if we go off a buzz of an album. I don't know. I guess the way the album changes and shifts culture, I guess you can say, is what to me makes an album a classic. And I guess make people talk. I guess when everybody's talking about it, because Take Care is definitely a classic. And it's like I think that's where he won like his Grammy for best rap album. And so Take Care is a classic because it almost like in the way that it shifted culture, it's like everybody was talking about that album like after listening to it, and it had a major effect on just music. And so there's some albums that are really good, but they're not classics. And so yeah, I actually Thank Me Later is probably not a classic. It's a really good album, but it's probably not a classic. Like same like when we would always talk about Kendrick, like the way Good Kid, Mad City, and To Pimp a Butterfly shifted culture. It's like it's a classic, and I think that's what makes something a classic. It's like it's so many songs. Even though there was great records on Drake's Thank Me Later, I don't know. I don't know if it touched culture like like Take Care did. So I think that's what kind of makes an album a classic, the way it like moves and shifts the culture. Um, but yeah, I think Take Care honestly might be his only classic if we're talking about classics. I don't know. What makes a album a classic to you?
For me, what makes an album a classic is what you said. Part of what you said about it shifting the culture. I think that's part of it. But I also think while the album does have to shift the culture, I do think that the music has to be great. So
Oh, 100%. 100%.
the reason why I think Take Care is a classic is because not only did that album shift the culture, but a lot of people didn't think that Drake was going to be able to come back and do it again, like how he did it on Thank Me Later. But he came back and did it again, but he did it better. So what I mean by the music has to be great is on when you look at an album like uh Take Care, not
Mhm.
only was the rapping ability at a high level because he was rapping at a high level on that album. It's how the album is
Mhm.
sequenced. It's how the album comes together. It's who works on the album. So when you
Mhm.
take a song like Lord Knows and you have Rick Ross
Mhm.
on it and they're rapping over a Just Blaze beat, that to me
Mhm.
is the epitome of music. That is music
Yeah.
to me. So you have Drake
Yeah.
spazzing that, and that Lord knows that Lord knows record is a top five Drake verse. I don't care what nobody says. It's a top five Drake verse, and
Mhm.
he's spazzing on a Just Blaze record because Drake got a lot of the stuff that he does from Jay-Z. So
Mhm.
I feel like
Right.
that was calculated, and then you have a record where you have Wayne and Andre 3000 on the same song. That's a classic moment.
Woo.
That's a
Exactly.
classic
Like
moment.
that. That's amazing, bro.
And you have a song like The Ride where that's a top five introspective record from Drake.
Mhm.
I just feel like
Yep.
all of that plays a part in making an album a classic. So not only does it have to shift the culture, but the music also has to be great. Like when we think about an album like Illmatic, Nas
Yes.
was rapping over DJ Premier, Pete Rock, Q-Tip. He had
Yeah.
uh the AZ on a, you know what I'm saying? Like he put
Yeah.
together a musical album. Like it's a musical album, and there's a yeah yeah. I
The
don't
lyrical content is just insane. No, I agree 100%. Like that's what a classic is to me. Like the music, the way you're rapping, and the music and the producer that you have is just amazing. Like just like greatness. And I feel like there's people out there calling albums classics that are not classics. They kind of throw the word classic around way too much. So
right. The,
it's crazy.
the word classic gets thrown around like a piece of bacon, but Take Care to me
Hmm.
is Drake at his peak lyrically, artistically, and I think he just was maybe at a point in his life where he was starting to adjust and get accustomed to being a superstar. So that's the reason why his content back then was a lot better than what it is now. Because now Drake just sounds lazy, to be honest. And it's funny
Hmm.
because a lot of people used to say the same thing about Jay, that Jay became lazy. And
Hmm.
I really think that if Drake were to get inspired, we've had this conversation before. I think that Drake has the ability to drop a classic album, but he's gonna have to let go of the singing stuff. If Drake were to go in the studio, make a 12 song rap album and have 40 produce all the beats, I can tell you right now it's probably gonna be a classic.
Yeah. Yep.
It's probably gonna be a
I
classic.
agree.
So
Yep. I agree.
yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I love Thank Me Later though. Thank Me Later is still one of my favorite Drake albums. I still listen to that album. I still listen to Light Up. I think Drake snapped on that. Um
Hmm.
he snapped the
Yep.
whole album. The Resistance.
Yep. Yep.
Um
That whole album is still going to be in my rotation. And that's the thing about classics and all of that. It's like something could be something could not be a classic, but you could still enjoy it and bump that album forever. Like it's albums that are not classics, and I'm gonna be living with those albums forever. Like they're gonna be a part of, like, it's gonna be the music I listen to, and I'm just not gonna stop listening to it. It's just gonna be a great, forever a good album, and it's just like even though it's not a classic.
yeah,
So I
100%.
think people think like yeah, I think you can like somebody's whole discography and it only be like two classics, but you like there's still these are still good albums. So yeah, but yeah, shout out to Drake. Yeah, Thank Me Later was really really good. Uh, I don't know. Do you want My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy to be the last thing? You want to?
Yeah, because I forgot that Teflon Don also came out in 2010, and I really just want to touch on that album too because I feel like that album to me was really
Hmm.
like damn near a perfect album. And we're gonna have to have an
Yeah,
episode one day on Rick Ross because I'm tired of people disrespecting Rick Ross. Rick Ross has one of the best catalogs in hip hop. I don't give a shit what anyone says. I don't care what anybody says.
yes, bro. Yes, I don't. You know what? People don't really give Rick Ross his props like they should, and it seemed like I. It's like even when he drops a great album or really good album, it's like people not still not giving him his just due. Like, and yeah, I agree. We definitely got to talk about Rick Ross on the episode for sure.
Yeah, because looking at this damn Teflon Don track list, man, I'm Not a Star, Freemason with Jay-Z, and I'm gonna tell you
Mhm.
right now, Tears of Joy is one of the greatest
Mhm.
rap songs ever. I don't care what anybody says. That
Yeah,
Rick Ross, when it comes to production, him working with the Justice League, man, man, it,
yep.
it's ridiculous. The track list is ridiculous. Like I said, Tears of Joy, Live Fast Die Young with Kanye, BMF with Styles P, Aston Martin music. Lord Jesus.
Classic, classic song, classic video.
Lord Jesus. MC Hammer with Gucci Man. Yeah. Teflon Don is what is it's
Yeah, he
classic.
did that. Yeah, he did that, bro. He did that.
He bodied Teflon Don. That it's an amazing fucking if you are listening to this podcast right now and you haven't heard any Rick Ross album, listen to Teflon Don. That is an amazing you know what's crazy? Rick Ross
What's the
is the only person, and let me just think for a minute because I want to be accurate whenever I say this. I think Rick Ross is the only person that we have in our generation that has worked in mainstream hip hop that has worked with both Jay-Z and Nas.
facts?
I don't think
I
anybody
think that
else
might be. I think that might be facts.
I don't think anybody else has worked with both Jay and Nas. I mean, Wayne,
Kanye, I guess you could say.
yeah, I guess Kanye has. What oh yeah, because Nas was on um he was on We Major. You're right. He was on We Major.
Yeah, yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
So other than Kanye, Rick Ross is the only person that's gotten the OG stamp from Nas and Jay. And when when I say work with them, I mean Nas is on 3 Rick Ross projects and Jay is on 3 Rick Ross projects. So
Exactly. That don't happen a lot.
yeah, that doesn't happen a lot. So if anybody, we need to start having conversations about Rick Ross and where he stands in hip hop because he's an
Yeah,
OG at this point.
yeah, man. Rick Ross is a great rapper, bro. Like they not give. I don't know. They ain't been giving him his flowers. Don't feel like.
Oh yeah, he definitely sounded like he was disappointed on that "What's Free"
Uh
on
huh.
that "What's Free" verse. Whenever he said, I can't remember how he said it, but he said it's been over 10 years and I'm still nobody's favorite. Oh yeah, he has.
Oh, bro. I remember. You know what? I hear that, bro. It's like I never hear people say Rick Ross is like their favorite. It's like he's always one of the favorites, but he's never the number one favorite to a lot of people. But
Yeah,
Rick Ross is that guy.
he has a song on his album that came out last year called "Nobody's Favorite," and it's hard.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
rather um rather you than me, that's one of my favorite. That album came out the same year that 444 and All American Badass came out. That was a top 3 project.
Man. Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
man, Teflon Don is 100% a classic. That was one of the best albums to come out in 2010. Flawless,
For sure.
flawless track list. Salute to Rick Ross. Um, yeah. Um, and then I guess we can get to the finale.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about it. Let's
So
talk about it.
the album that a lot of people have been going back and forth on, as far as it being the greatest album that was released in the past 10 years, is My Beautiful
Mm.
Dark Twisted Fantasy, and the other one that they mentioned is To Pimp a Butterfly.
Ooh, bruh. Honestly, those two albums are up there for me. Those are the greatest. Those might be the best albums to come out of the decade. Like
Yeah.
those are probably my top two albums. They're in the top 5. Those are probably my top 2, honestly. Um, those albums are incredible. And it's funny because when I was looking up albums for the past for like 10-year anniversary of these albums, Kanye, my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was like number 1 on greatest albums of the. It was like number 1 on multiple things. It was like Complex and all of these other sites. I was just like, that album was really that big. So let's get into this one. Let's definitely get into this one.
Yeah. So leading to this album, before it came out, it was an epic situation, because this goes back to Good Fridays, and I feel like a lot of people forgot about Good Fridays, and a lot of people don't even really know what Good Fridays was. So Good Fridays was every Friday up until the release of Dark Twisted Fantasy. Kanye and Good Music would release songs where all of Good Music would be on the song. So he released the record Good Friday that had Big Sean, I think Pusha T was on it, Cider Prince was on it. And then he released one of my favorite songs, and one of the songs that I think is underrated, and I think it should have been on the regular version of Dark Twisted Fantasy, was Christian Dior Denim Flow. That song is
I love that song.
That song is ridiculous. That song should have been on the album, so I was disappointed whenever I didn't see that on there. He came out with Christmas in Harlem and Chain Heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So Good Fridays, man, there was a moment there before, I think it was before Life of Pablo came out, where he kind of started that up for a minute, but then he stopped. And I don't know why he stopped doing that, but that Good Fridays thing was like, I remember like waiting every Friday to see like what song was going to be released. I even remember the day I went out and got the album. It was November 22nd. It was fucking like 12 degrees outside. I think it was like we were out of school that week, I think, because it was like frozen or whatever. But I went my ass to Target and I got that damn album. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, man. Dark Twisted Fantasy is, to me, one of the greatest hip hop albums, one of the greatest musical albums, he put out one of the greatest visuals of all time with this album. I could go on all day talking about this album, to be honest.
Bro, this album was just like, it's just like this album did everything for me, bro. Like it was just, I was like, he's making music at such a high level. Like, is he going to top? It's like, I don't know, like when people hear a certain album and they be like, I don't know if they're gonna top this ever. And I kind of felt like that about Kanye. I was just like, because I know some people say they'll say like, College Dropout is his greatest album, and then so for me it might be like College Dropout, then this album, or actually it might be this album then College Dropout, and but it's like when I heard this, I was like, I don't know if he's gonna top this, because just like what we were saying about Rick Ross on Devil in a New Dress, that might be the hardest Rick Ross verse I've ever heard. Like, it's like everybody came with the highest level of rapping on that album.
Except
And
for Jay-Z's verse on Monster. That verse was trash.
facts. Because honestly, I even loved Kanye's verse on Monster. Like I loved his verse. And Nicki had a verse. Nicki snapped. And then So Appalled, Pusha T's verse, saw how the Prince verse. Like this man was just he put together a masterpiece of an album and put a film with it. It's like because honestly, all the way up to like went all the way from College Dropout to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, I think are all classic albums. I think the albums after that are not classic. I think Watch the Throne is a classic. And but as far as like the solo Kanye albums, it's like there's like no more solo Kanye albums after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It was like classic. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was like a huge classic. And then it was just like the albums after that he did where it was just him rapping wasn't classic. It was just like it were good, solid albums, but there wasn't classics. But it's like when My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy came, that was just like the classics of all classics on his album, like when it came to his albums. Because I think College Dropout is a classic. I think Late Registration, Graduation, 808 and Heartbreaks, and then My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Those are like 5 classic albums to me. And but My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was just beautiful. It was beautiful from beginning to end. Like Runaway, So Appalled, Devil in a New Dress. It was just, man, his highest level of rapping. He got people on there with their highest level of rapping. The production, like when I heard that Rick Ross verse on Devil in a New Dress, I think that might be the best I've ever heard Rick Ross, probably ever. Like that whole album is to me is just beautiful, gorgeous. I think that's the most lyrical I've ever heard Kanye on Gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think I've ever heard Kanye rap like that before. And Devil in a New Dress is probably one of the greatest rap instrumentals. The beat that's one of the
Oh,
greatest beats I've ever heard in my life. It's such a climactic beat that when Rick Ross comes on it, it's man,
mm,
it's insane. And I knew it was gonna be. I knew Kanye was gonna snap whenever I saw him do that performance on MTV at the MTV Music Awards when he was in that red suit and
mm-hmm.
and Pusha T came out. I was like, oh man,
Oh
he's about to
man,
snap on this goddamn album. So yeah, that was
yeah.
ridiculous. And the fact that he even got Raekwon on Gorgeous. And
Oh man,
um, one thing that really made me mad though was RZA didn't have a verse on So Appalled, and
man. Yes, bro.
I feel like
Yes,
if RZA had had a verse on that, man, man,
yeah. That was insane. That whole album, bro, is just incredible. Man, I might listen to that when we get off of here, bro. That album is insane,
it's funny
beginning to
that you
end.
said everything before Dark Twisted Fantasy is a classic from Kanye. I never thought that Graduation was a classic.
Really?
Yeah, there's too many skips on there for me, man. It's the Drunken Hot Girls was terrible. Barry Bonds was terrible. Um, I did not like Stronger.
Well, right. Wait, you didn't like Barry Bonds?
No, Lil Wayne's verse on that was trash. It was terrible.
No, no, no. But the just Kanye part. I love Kanye's part.
Eh, eh, man.
No, no, no. I hated Wayne's verse. I'm not gonna even lie. I hated his verse on that song.
Yeah, I wasn't messing with that. And I think there's one other song on there that I don't like. But yeah, I never
You
I
don't like.
never thought Graduation was a classic, man.
I know you didn't like the song Stronger.
Yeah, I hate it stronger. I hate
Yeah,
drinking hot girls.
I don't like that song either.
Barry Bonds, and there's one
But
other
so,
song on
you
there.
know what? Dang, you almost making me think that probably wasn't a. You know what's so funny? A lot of people that I know say they think Graduation is Kanye's best album.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so you know what? Now that you say that, it's really making me think he really probably got four classics because, or wait, hmm,
I'm
because
I'm
College
giving
Dropout is a classic to me.
I'm
I think
giving
808 and Heartbreak.
I'm giving Kanye 3. I think College Dropout is a classic, Late Registration, and Dark Twisted Fantasy, and that's it. I'm done after that.
Bro, you know what? That's what my mind just started thinking too. Like, because I think at one point I used to think Late Registration was a classic.
Late Registration is a classic to me.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, that is a classic. And then 808 and
Late
Heartbreaks. Yeah, I
Late
think
Registration. There was a long time when I used to
that
fight
is a
with
classic.
myself. I used to fight with myself, and I used to ask myself which album is better out of College Dropout and Late Registration? Because Late Registration, that shit
Yes,
has We Major, that has
yes.
On My Way Home with Common, Crack Music with
Hmm.
Game, Diamonds
Hmm.
Remix, Roses,
Yeah.
Hey Mama.
Same. Same, bro. I had to battle within myself to see which one was better because that College Dropout is so hard because of the people that he got on it and the way he was rapping. Like he got Jay-Z, Mos Def, Talib, Common,
Oh yeah,
Ludacris.
he did.
It's like it's so hard. But no. College Dropout and Late Registration are definitely classics. Um, yeah, you know what? I think you might be right. I think he might at least have Kanye at least has three classics because My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is the classic among classics as far as his discography.
Yeah.
And because I think I used to just say 808 and Heartbreaks was a classic, but now that I think about it, I don't know.
Yeah,
Kanye at least has three. He at least has three classics. Because if I'm a stamp something classic, it's gonna definitely be College Dropout, Late Registration, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and it's like with 808 and Heartbreaks, that still would be considered a good album, even if it's not a classic. And then uh Graduation has two or three skippable songs. So yeah, Graduation to me would be a good album, but it's still there's some skippable songs. But yeah, I would at least give Kanye three classics for sure.
yeah, College Dropout, man. That album, like when I think about that album, it just makes me think. Because sometimes I even ask myself, like, man, is College Dropout better than Dark Twisted Fantasy? College Dropout was just a different time, man. I think the reason why I like College Dropout so much is because that was a different Kanye, man, and we're not gonna get that Kanye ever again.
Mm-hmm.
A Kanye that was against racism, that was that was just a different
Mm-hmm.
Kanye, man. And Mos Def was on there, and Talib Kweli, Common, Freeway, Jay Z, all of those people were on that album. And when I look at that track list, man, I'm just like, College Dropout is like the greatest thing ever. But
Yeah.
Dark
Yep.
Dark Twisted Fantasy was such a musical album that that album is really hard, man. Like but that's how great Kanye's catalog is. Um,
Facts. Facts.
yeah, man, because I mean that the first track on Dark Twisted Fantasy, Dark Fantasy, and Tiana Taylor is at the beginning. Like, man, it's
Yeah. Exactly. Man, it's I always have a battle within myself on certain Kanye albums, like which one is better than the other as far as like the College Dropout and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Late Registration, like because I think at one point I was like I didn't really consider Late Registration a classic until like I sat down and listened to it again, and I was like, dang, this album was actually really incredible. Like this album, because I know some people that don't even really like Late Registration. I'm like, the album was some amazing work. Like the way he was rapping, the way other people was like rapping on the song, like Nas and Jay and Common. Yeah, it's just it's crazy. But for
I
sure, those are definitely his three classics for sure.
I begged my mom to buy me Late Registration that year in 2005 when
Hmm.
it came out, and she went and
Hmm.
she bought me the clean version. And still to this day, I have that same clean version on my iPod to this day. And
Yeah,
I really need to download the explicit version because I'm kind of tired of listening to it with the beeps. But yeah, man, I begged my mom to buy me Late Registration, and yeah, that album has been a classic to me since I first heard it. That album is incredible
yeah,
to me, and again, like I said, I go back and forth all the time to try to battle myself and try to figure out which one out of Late Registration and College Dropout is better, and I can never ever get to the bottom of that. But
yeah. It's hard, bro.
yeah, man, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is a perfect album, um, from top to
Hmm.
bottom. Um,
Masterpiece.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. And I remember when Joe Budden and DJ Academics were on Everyday Struggle, and they had a big argument because Joe Budden said that Dark Twisted Fantasy was not a classic. And then he had to come back and
Wow.
apologize because everybody on his Twitter was like going at his ass, like saying that he didn't know shit and he didn't know hip hop and he didn't blah blah blah, and he had to apologize and say that it
Yeah,
was a classic because yeah, that there's no way that album is not a classic. I don't care.
he was big tripping. I don't know what he was on when he said that because I thought like I mean I know a lot of people like you can't stamp something a classic after you hear it, but man, when I heard it for the first time, it gave me a feeling, and I was like, and it was a feeling that a lot of like I don't just get that feeling off of every album. But man, when I heard that album, it gave me a feeling like I was like, yeah, this is a classic. And I was like, I can tell I'm about to be listening to this album a million times. And yeah, it's like if they didn't stamp it as a classic, it was gonna be a classic in my heart because I was like, this album is insane. So yeah, big shout out to Kanye for that album because that's to me some of his best work. And the fact that he put a film with it and the art behind the film, like and the ballerinas dancing with when it came to Runaway, and man, incredible, bro.
Yeah, and I tell people all the time like that's the one album that I wish I could have been a fly on the wall whenever it was being created. You know, the fact that they went to Hawaii and he had
Yeah.
Beyonce, he had Big Sean, he had Tiana, he had Jay, Pusha, he had
Hmm.
everybody. I think he said he had Nas out there at one point. Nicki Minaj was there. Ross was there.
Ross.
Wu
Yeah.
Tang was
Yeah.
there. I would love
Like,
to
yeah.
have been a fly on the wall to see the creation of that album because I bet you those studio sessions were fucking crazy.
Bruh, we need a documentary on the creation of that album.
Yes, yes,
Like, we need. I hope one day there's some type of footage that they release, like a documentary for that, because I want to see what everybody was doing, like preparing for the album. Because I remember I was watching an interview of Pusha T, and he let Pusha T write to every track on the album, like every beat on the album. He said like write to whatever to every single one of these beats, and so I was like, he was like, you're gonna be somewhere on this album. So I was like, write to every song, like every beat that's on this album, and like we're gonna choose which ones that you're gonna be on. But the fact that he gave that much freedom to Pusha T to like write to every single beat is just like, bruh, like I'm 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 literally trying to put pieces together for this album. It's like he became like the name of the album, Life of Pablo. He was he became Picasso, bro. He was really putting together an incredible piece of art. Like he went on another level with it. It was insane.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, that was a time because when I listened to Dark Twisted Fantasy, it I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just a fan in me of Kanye. I just always think to myself like, man, we're never gonna get this Kanye ever again. Like this part of Kanye is gone. Like it sucks to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, but when I heard that album, I kind of knew we wasn't gonna have the same Kanye even before all of the craziness happened because it's like once you hit a certain, once you create an album super great, it's so much pressure to create an album like that again, and it's like you want to put out a great album, but it's like it still doesn't live up to a certain album that you put out. Like it's like it'll be good, it'll be close to great, but it'd be like I don't know if I could put something out that great again. And some people can do it, but it's hard to consistently do that. And yeah, I because I feel like everything else after My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy was not classics. They just like good albums, and some are just okay. Like Watch the Throne, that's a classic to me. And then but like as far as like Life of Pablo is good, but it's not a classic. Uh it's like yeah. But yeah, I kind of figured we wasn't gonna get the same Kanye when it came to that. So
Yeah. Oh well. Well, salute to Kanye for making that album. I feel like that album is gonna be, one of those albums that we're gonna be listening to, 20, 30 years from now. So
hmm
it'll definitely
for
be
sure.
around. But yeah, some honorable mentions I want to kind of go over is Crit Was Here, came out 2010.
hmm
Um,
Yep.
I just saw where he actually got that album on Apple, so people can go get that on Apple now.
Yep. Yep.
Dope project, and The Roots, How I Got Over, came out in 2010.
Incredible. Love that album.
So yeah, honorable mentions to those. Ghostface, Apollo Kids came out 2010. Um, I think Currency, Pilot Talk one came out. One or two, I can't remember if it was it one. I think Pilot Talk one came out 2010.
I can't remember
I think
when
it
it came
was
to
Pilot Talk one.
currency.
So salute to Currency. What else came out 2010 that we can give honorable mentions to?
What about Overly Dedicated? I thought that was good
Oh yeah,
by Kendrick.
yep, definitely Overly Dedicated. Salute to Kendrick.
Uh,
That's definitely a classic.
I think Fan of a Fan, the mixtape came out.
Oh yeah, that's the
Uh,
project. Yep, salute Chris Brown.
I thought
And
that was Yep, I thought that was great. I didn't like the Fan of a Fan album, but the Fan of a Fan mixtape was great to me.
yeah,
Mac Miller Kids came out.
yep. Rest in peace to Mac Miller. Rest in peace.
R.I.P. Um, let me see. Ludacris Battle of the Sexes came out. Let me see. Kid Cudi, Man
Oh
on the
yeah,
Moon
Kid
2.
Cudi, Man on the Moon 2 came out. Definitely.
Yep, great
Salute,
album.
salute Kid Cudi.
Um, yep. Um, See, I think Ti No Mercy came out. I don't know how I felt about that album.
I remember liking like the first couple of tracks on that album because I remember he had that opening track with Kid Cudi and Kanye on it, and I just thought that shit was dope as hell.
Yeah, yeah. He had a few songs on there that were actually pretty good. I don't know. That wasn't a heavy album in my rotation though.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, it was some good stuff. It was some good stuff in 2010
yeah, man. I think we kind of covered all the important ones.
for sure, for sure. Like, and yeah, a lot of those were in my rotation. Like, as far as between the mixtapes and the albums. But yeah, bro. Like, I love discussing this. And it's crazy that we're discussing that those albums and mixtapes were 10 years ago, that which doesn't even feel like 10 years. Feel like 5, honestly.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like 10 years. That time went by extra fast, and it's amazing to see, where all of those artists are now in their career. Drake being the biggest rapper and Kanye just somewhere else. Just he just did a complete 360, and Nicki is a top female rapper, and yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's crazy to see that all of this has happened within 10 years. So
Yeah.